The best Japanese game about collecting and evolving monsters gets a new series? What are you doing? Okay. I don't know. Start from the top. We'll edit it in post, or we'll fix it in post. Anyway, the best Japanese game about collecting and evolving monsters gets a new series? Want a series about a ragtag group that becomes family? No, not Suicide Squad, not Guardians of the Galaxy, not Creature Commandos, not Peacemaker. This one's Star Trek. Go, go, Disney money. Do, 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 do. That's all of that I'm going to do. Would it be inappropriate to call this film a short? All this and more on Cutting Edge Hero Live. Welcome to Cutting Edge Hero! I am the Nerd King, Danny Stewart, your host for this and every episode of Cutting Edge Hero. Thank you for joining us. I am joined, as always, by the incredibly handsome, the very secretive, and the secretly wealthy Landon Felter. Landon, say hi to the nice people.
Hello, everyone. I don't think I'm that secretive. I just like having a private life.
I don't know what that means. Anyway, welcome to Cutting Edge Hero. Tonight, we are going to be talking about our 5 favorite endings on the hit list. We will be going over episode 3 of Daredevil Born Again, the season finale for Invincible, season 3, 4?
3.
Season 3. The season finale for Invincible season 3. We are also going to be breaking down some of the news on the bullet points, and then we will what is happening? Then we will also be talking about whatever else comes to mind. But before we get to that, Landon, what is the nerdiest thing you have done this week?
Nerdiest thing I've done this week actually is watching the season finale of Invincible.
Yeah, so for the first time in the history of us covering Invincible episodes, I won't be spoiling anything for Landon. He's actually ahead of the game.
Yes, I actually am. And
proud of you, buddy.
What?
I'm proud of you, buddy.
Thank you.
You were saying something?
Oh, nothing. It can wait till later. A little sneak peek for the rest of you.
Okay, fantastic. The nerdiest thing that I have done this week, I went back up. I went to Illinois, up by Chicago, over the weekend to celebrate my older sister's 50th birthday. And I got to play with our human relations specialist and fact checker extraordinaire, Ben Stewart, who should be in the comments. Maybe, I don't know. He's got his own life. But his kids, his 3 kids, I took my lightsabers to his house, and we fought with lightsabers in the yard, just like we did when Ben was a kid. And I was just in heaven. I could not have been happier to just be swinging some lightsabers at some toddlers. I don't know why that makes me so happy, but man, was I having a blast. And I'm sure my brother's neighbors were like, what is this weirdo doing out here in the yard swinging these sticks at these kids? But I don't know, man. It's the best time I can possibly have for free.
Danny, I want you to be honest. Did you let them win?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I for my own kids, and certainly for my younger siblings, they will take that L every time. But for my brother's kids, my nieces and nephews, they can have the L or they can have the W all day long. I do not mind giving them that sense of satisfaction, at least until they're older, at which point I will then destroy them to teach them a valuable lesson.
Of course.
Yeah. Landon, do you want to talk about some news?
Oh, I always do.
Okay. Landon always wants to talk about news. Why don't you fire those bullet points at me? Welcome to the bullet points. So let's kick it right off the top of the list here. Um, I'm sure everyone was keeping up with this, but Digimon is doing an online Digimon Con. It is actually tonight, 10 p.m. Central. You can adjust time accordingly for yourselves out of that. I'm not going to do it for you. But ahead of that, they accidentally leaked a website for Digimon Beat Break. It was leaked online last night. This is believed to be because they are releasing a 9th series for Pokemon. Here you can see this post by Reddit user Yellow90Flash showing a bunch of the characters, including Sora, who is voiced by Colleen O'Shaughnessy, who also voices Tails, who will be at Cape Anime April 5th and 6th here in sunny, beautiful Cape Girardeau, Missouri. But for those of you who are fans of Digimon, I certainly am. I'm going to try to tune into Digimon Con tonight, but I'm just excited that we're getting a new Digimon series. Landon, were you ever a Digimon fan?
Oh yeah, I definitely saw some Digimon stuff. I was never in a place to really keep up with it back when I was into it because all I had was TV. But yeah, I definitely got really into it when I could as a kid.
Yeah, I think the Digimon movie was exceptional, and I think that Pokemon does not stand up to how cool Digimon is. My friend Scally, or Banjo, as you can see in the comments, is in the chat. Scally, what is up? And our good friend Kenpachi is also in the chat. Kenpachi, did you see that Dina Sherman announcement for anime? I'm sure you were excited about that. I certainly am. Moving along, for our Star Trek fans out there, Star Trek is getting a Suicide Squad style comic series coming from IDW called The Red Shirts. So in this series, we will be interested. We'll be introduced to a team of red shirts. We'll get to know them a little bit, make emotional connections, which is always the best thing you should do with a red shirt. And then subsequently, they will go on an away mission, and you will see several of them, if not all of them, die in horrible, horrible ways that the red shirts do in the Star Trek series. This is being brought to us by writer Christopher Cantwell. The art is by Megan Levins, and it should be releasing in the next month. Our friend Becca is in the chat as well. What's up, little sis? Glad you are here. Moving along to television, all of our Power Rangers fans out there, and who isn't, honestly, it has just been announced that they are bringing a new Power Rangers series to Disney Plus. There have been Disney and Power Rangers collaborations in the past, but this is going to be a new series. Is that happening when you try to show the comments?
Yeah, it's happening when I'm trying to show the comics. I'm trying to troubleshoot everybody. Sorry. I don't think this is something that I'm going to be able to fix tonight, though.
Okay, just get used to it. You're going to see blue screens regularly. And then again, we may be the only one seeing those, Landon. Let us know. Are random blue screens popping up on the scene? But anyway, so this time they're going to attempt to reboot the entire Power Rangers franchise, and it is being brought to us by the showrunner for Percy Jackson and the Olympians. The Disney Plus series that's recently been on. So Ben, as far as I know, Ben Stewart, our human relations specialist and fact checker extraordinaire, is in the chat. Glad you're here, Ben. Ben, as far as I know, no Beetleborgs news, and we probably won't see any because Beetleborgs is actually an amalgamation of two separate series where there was like the Munster style Japanese series that they merged with a Super Sentai storyline and gave us the Beetleborgs, and that hasn't existed since, so we probably will not see that again ever, if at all. They're saying they're not getting a blue screen.
Yeah, I have the stream open for me as well. I don't know why I didn't bother to check, but yeah, no blue screens, although ours is now permanently just a blue screen, except when I show the comments.
It's a speaker view underneath it. Do you know, do you think that's a...
I tried changing that. It was previous. It was like similar to like another thing, but yeah.
Huh. Weird. Oh, there we are. Maybe it's just you have to have a second scene to go back to. I don't know. Finally, moving along to movies, we have gotten the first teasers for the new Trauma movie of the Toxic Avenger. It is a reboot of the classic movie from the 80s, starring Peter Dinklage of Game of Thrones fame as Toxie, the Toxic Avenger. So here is a first look image brought to us by Entertainment Weekly, showing Peter Dinklage in the Toxie costume. Toxie, of course, is a nerdy high school kid who gets dumped into some toxic waste and gains, it melts his face and body, but also gives him incredible strength and power and a radioactive mop to hit people with. Those of you who aren't familiar with the Trauma movie, you may be familiar with the 1990s cartoon series, The Toxic Avenger, where they took the Trauma film, which is definitely not child friendly and definitely risque and definitely at least TV NC-17, and turned him into a children's show for us to watch after school every day. So either way, if you know the Toxic Avenger from either of those properties, that's what we're getting, but it'll be Peter Dinklage as Toxie. And then here was a release from the official Twitter account from Trauma, and it is fun new bod, same great grub. And that is actually the Miss Meat was a McDonald's style fast food place in the Trauma movies, but the food had like toxic waste in it, as everything in Trauma does. But anyway, that is everything I've got for news. Landon, what do you got on video gaming front?
So, video game news. According to a recent survey done by people who call themselves a gaming support company, basically they run surveys, see what people are playing, see what's trending, and report that back to various companies and developers and so on.
How do you get one of these jobs?
Huh?
Anyway, moving along.
They say that PC gamers spend 92% of their time playing older games. Now, don't get too excited, all you original Rogue fans. Older games for this company is 2 years and older. So anything from 2022 before is old for them.
Well, with the economy the way it is, it's hard to afford a new graphics card, every 6 months to get your PC up to date to play the next new games that are coming out.
Mm-hmm. And, for these companies, they don't care if you're playing. They don't want you buying all their old stuff. They want you buying their new fancy stuff,
Right.
where they get able to brag and get more for their marketing value and everything.
I mean, they spent a lot of money on that game. They're hoping you'll buy it, right?
I guess so.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's Random? What's up, Random?
But yeah, there's also some they found with this survey was a shockingly high number of live service games are being played.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. The main reason why is because a good live service game, whether it be Fortnite or Marvel Rivals for a more recent example, if it's good, people will keep coming back to it over and over again.
I'm surprised they didn't find that nobody has played a PC game since they shut down Club Penguin.
I mean, I'm sure there's that one person out there who only really liked Club Penguin. But yeah, another reason why older games are out there is because older titles tend to be cheaper. Like even games from a couple of years ago are like going for 35% off, 20% off, sometimes even 50% off with like Steam sales or Epic Store sales and everything. So yeah, people are going to buy those up quickly.
And with free trials dropping on Steam, you want to spend $80 for a new game or get a game that's only 2 years old that you've never played for free.
Yeah.
I'm certainly that way. I play a lot of PlayStation Plus games that I'm not buying up front. I'm just paying for the subscription,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. What else you got, Landon?
Bobby Kotick, Activision head or former Activision head, I can't quite remember, has filed a defamation suit against Kotaku and Gizmodo. He, in two of their articles referenced an investigation by the California Civil Rights Department. And even though when asked, they did edit the articles to have less of a focus on Kotick and talk about how nobody has technically been sued and they were settled and everything, Kotick still wasn't happy with it and is going forward with suing them.
Yeah, get your money.
Yeah. Oh, and Billy, unless it's a Nintendo game, yes, I am aware of all the Nintendo games out there on the PC right now.
It's so true. They are rife with PC games. I want to say hi, Random. Nice to meet you. Your dad's a good guy. Um, wait, just saw some incredible news about video games earlier. What was it, Billy? Tell us.
Yes, please
While
share.
Landon moves along to his next piece of news.
Yes. Last piece. Assassin's Creed Shadows drops tomorrow.
Whoa.
Everybody from Game Rant to even some more mainstream news sources have been talking about Reuters. That's the main source I was thinking about. Is claiming that this is a make or break moment for Ubisoft.
Okay.
Like if this does not go well, it might be the end for them.
What are the early reviews saying?
Early reviews are saying 8 out of 10s, 80%. I don't know if an 8 out of 10 is enough to save a company as big as Ubisoft, but this might be a swan song for not just the series, but the entire company.
I don't imagine that Assassin's Creed will go the way of the dodo long term. If Ubisoft goes under, they will probably sell the IP off to somebody else who's willing to make a new Assassin's Creed game, and that could either be good or bad. It can go either way depending on who picks up the torch. But I love Assassin's Creed. It's one of my favorite video game series. That being said, they lost me at Valhalla. But if an assassin game where you basically play ninjas that takes place in Japan, I mean, you're ticking most of my boxes there. So there's a good chance I'm going to get this one and I'm going to play it. And even if it is an utter failure, I'm probably going to love it. So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be buying it, but even if this does go poorly and Ubisoft goes under, there have been apparently lots of reports of talks with Microsoft to buy up the company, talks with Tencent to buy up the company. Like, this may be the end for Ubisoft, but I may have been jumping the gun saying it may be a swan song for the series.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, it could be either way. Like Ubisoft could take it down with them and never let anyone buy the IP. That's also an opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie rights are already owned by somebody else, so we'll probably still get Assassin's Creed properties, even if the game and the studio goes away.
Maybe. Oh, and Billy, the UHC CEO shooter, Luigi, was part of the dev team for Civilization 6. Yes, he did UI testing for Civ 6. A lot of people went crazy about it when it first happened, and they were like, oh my god, yeah. Also, his favorite Pokemon is Breloom, which shows he has taste.
Oh, does he like long walks on the beach?
In my mind, he does.
And you're okay. Fantastic. Landon, what else you got?
That's everything from me.
Okay, well, that does it for the bullet points. I hope this news didn't just graze you. This has been the bullet points. So welcome back to the show. We are going to be talking about Daredevil episode 4, or Daredevil Born Again episode 4, and then the season 3 finale of Invincible. I'm going in order of hypeness. So Daredevil episode 3, Daredevil Born Again episode 4, Daredevil Born Again episode 4 followed the trend of episodes 2 and 3, where it just really didn't give us much. It is still building. So unless this has like the craziest last 4 episodes in the history of television, the quality for this series is already under Daredevil season 2. It's at least equal to Daredevil season 3 from Netflix, but they could round it out with 4 of the greatest episodes of television to have ever hit screens. And I might have to eat my hat. That's okay. I have a lot of them. It's not going to be a big deal. I prefer my hats with mustard because I'm from Chicago. But this last episode, it didn't give us much. I think they were selling this episode on the return of John Bernthal as the Punisher. He pops up, not in the Punisher regalia. He certainly isn't wearing the skull. He kind of living in a old gym basement, and he's working out. He's getting stronger, and he's been fighting somebody. He's got a big old cut on the side of his head, but we don't get to see the fight. So it's very much the Poochie episode where they never actually get to the fireworks factory. Cool, the Punisher's here. They have a conversation. It's a really good conversation. It's well written. It's missing the action. It's missing the thrills. It's missing the intensity that we previously saw from Charlie Cox and John Bernthal when the Punisher and Daredevil met on the Netflix series. That being said, the acting is still solid. I mean, Charlie Cox kills it as Matt Murdock. He's a great, believable Daredevil, a blind lawyer, a person that pretends he can't see, but he can see better than we can. That whole thing is still great. Vincent D'Onofrio chews every single scene he is in. We got to see that as mayor, he has to sit through really boring shit like watching kids terribly sing old songs. And he's doing his very best to keep it contained because this is a guy that when he gets angry, rips other people's heads off. And now he's got to pretend he's Mr. Sunny Happy Times, mayor of New York. And you can see it on his face through the whole thing. But he does go old school Kingpin. He gets angry. He's ready to rip somebody apart. And then he has a change of heart. So that's still in there. I think we're still going to see the big, angry, violent Kingpin later in the series. I think that'll be fun. I'm just sad that we're not getting it yet. We're halfway through this season of the return of Daredevil to screens. And we've seen him in the Daredevil suit once. It was the opening of the first episode. So we've gone roughly 4-ish hours with no Daredevil. So we're already at that 50% mark that I hate for superhero cinema to not give us the superhero in the superhero suit for at least half of the thing we're watching. So for me, they've committed an atrocious sin. Hopefully they can rectify it by giving us all Daredevil all the time for at least the last 3. Cause I know the next episode is the one where they leak scenes of it online where he breaks up a bank robbery with a red cloth wrapped around his head and not in the Daredevil costume, which is supposed to be the like stepping stone to get him back into the Daredevil suit. So that should be the next episode. We did see more of Muse, the Banksy style serial killer that uses the blood of his victims in his graffiti that he's putting around the city. We finally got a full scene of him in the suit, draining the blood out of somebody, getting ready to do his artwork. So we'll see that ideally in the next episode. We'll get a little bit more of Muse. Billy Rhodes wanted to know, does he talk about hooking up with She-Hulk at all? He doesn't mention it. And yeah, I'm with you, Billy. If I had managed to pull that off, I would be talking about it all the time. People would be tired of hearing me say it. They'd be like, hey, have you seen the weather today? And it'd be like, yeah, it's pretty nice. Not as nice as the day where I hooked up with She-Hulk, but it is what it is. But anyway, the series still has potential. It can still be good. It's still better than most of what we're getting from, daytime television or whatever. So it's still watchable. It's just, I want more Daredevil in my Daredevil series. I know that's a big ask, but for me, I would prefer more Daredevil in the series titled Daredevil. And he just, the last like 3 episodes has done no Daredevil stuff. And I'm not even saying like in costume, just like have him like do some flips and shit. Like the episode ends with him doing some like martial arts stuff with like his grappling hook, and that's it. Billy, holy shit, that's all I would ever talk about. I'd even brag to my wife about it. Yeah, I'm sure she'd give you a crisp high five sharing that kind of information with her. But moving along, the finale for season 3 of Amazon Prime's Invincible. Now, if you're not familiar with this, if you haven't read the comics, holy shit, we got Conquest. And we got Conquest voiced by Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And the fight was fucking incredible. They really pulled out all the stops for this. They brought the big like action pieces that we're used to getting in the Invincible series, and they really went crazy with it. One of the cool things about this is that if you're a fan of The Walking Dead, you know that whenever they introduce Negan into The Walking Dead, who in live action is played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, he splits Glenn's skull with his baseball bat, Lucille, and Glenn, who is in the live action played by Steven Yeun, also voices Invincible. So this was his opportunity to get revenge on Jeffrey Dean Morgan for splitting his skull in another series, and he got it. He beat the living shit out of Conquest. It went both ways. Obviously, Conquest is a total badass, but Mark really brings it. And for those of you who are fans of the comics, you know that this is a big turning point for Mark. This is where he changes from being the like, I can't do the things that I have to do to keep people safe because I can't hurt anybody, Now Mark is like, if you fuck around, I will hurt you, and that will be a big change for him going forward from this fight with Conquest. We know that the government can't help but mess with the dead Viltrumite bodies, and they're they've got Conquest locked up because he's definitely going to stay locked up. He's definitely not going to get free and beat the shit out of Mark again. So look forward to that fight later in the series. We get the first on-screen death of Adam Eve. If you're a fan of the comics, you know that is not the only time this happens, but it is the first time it happened on the show. She's an interesting character, but I won't get too far into that. I want to ruin the end of the series for you, but the action pieces are great, the voice acting is great, the animation was great, other than they use the literal the like promo art, the like original like sketch art for the series, the storyboard. They used the storyboard art at one point in the episode at the funeral for the dead character, or for Rexplode. At Rexplode's funeral, they used actual storyboard art and just colored it instead of reanimating for the show. And it's really bad. Like the art's like really, really bad. And they were just like, nobody will notice. It's super noticeable. Like Landon didn't notice. I can tell by his face. But if you go back and watch it, there's just a scene in there where the animation, the art is just like, it's so amateur looking compared to what the show normally does. And it's so funny. They were just like, we spent enough money. It's fine. Just use that. Yeah. But the show continues to push the envelope. It continues to be good. It continues to be a great homage to the original comic series while also bringing it to modern television. I'm very excited to see what they do with season 4. I'm also excited about the Rexplode movie that we're going to get in between season 3 and season 4. So that's all good. Those of you who are fans of Hellraiser, the original voice of Pinhead, Doug Bradley, I think it's David. I'm drawing a blank on his name. He voices a basically Pinhead version of an invincible version of Pinhead and the other demons from the Hellraiser movies in both the last episode and then this episode. He will be coming back. I think it's Doug Bradley. I could be wrong, but he's the guy that played Pinhead in the Hellraiser films, and his voice is just crazy. And if you know it, you heard it. I usually know this off the top of my head, and my brain is not doing it right now. But anyway, doesn't matter. The voice cast continues to be incredible. The people they bring in, the star power behind the voice actors for Invincible just continues to be incredible. And I appreciate that they are sparing no expense when it comes to pulling in really good voice actors for this series. But looking forward to the next season. Can't wait. The wait is going to be too long, no matter how short it is. And I'm excited. Landon, what did you think about it now that you've seen it?
All throughout this season, people have been making jokes about how the animation is extra inconsistent. And then halfway through the seasons, people started making jokes about, they're saving all that for the Conquest fight, aren't they? They're saving all that money for the Conquest fight, aren't they? And boy, howdy, were the jokes right. They were actually saving all that for the Conquest fight, because holy shit, they go insane with the animations in that one.
Yeah. It was it was, you could tell that they were really holding the quality and the effort that they were putting into it all. They were saving every bit of it for the Conquest fight because it's nuts. It's so good.
Yeah, and shout out to everybody who's tired of getting spoiled about the show from all the comics readers. There's going to be a storyline now that the comics readers don't know a fucking thing about.
Yeah.
Invincible is going to fight the devil.
Yes. So the post-credit scene showed them working on summoning some demons from hell. It's funny that Landon says this is something that the comic fans won't know about. You're wrong. This is actually believed to be their efforts to bring Spawn into the Invincible universe. And what they're doing is they're going to do an adventure in hell where it shows Al Simmons becoming Spawn, with an attempt to introduce Spawn not only into Invincible, but also with the opportunity to create a Spawn television series running alongside the Invincible television series with the approval of Todd McFarlane.
Well, even then, you still don't know the details of how this plot's going to go.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
We're not going to have a bunch of people telling us, oh, this is going to end with this character showing up and it's going to be insane, or this character, they're going to die. Like straight up die at this point. Get ready for it, folks.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We won't be ahead of the game as much as we were. I'm trying to find the still of the concept, the storyboard art that was put in, but I can't find it, so we'll move along.
Billy, so God is canon in Invincible. Billy, God is canon in everything.
Yeah, God is canon in your heart, Billy. Just let him in. But anyway, so moving along from that, for as much as I enjoyed the ending of season 3 of Invincible, it's not on my list of favorite endings, which is what we're talking about on the hit list tonight. Welcome to the hit list. I hope you guys have your list together. This week is our 5 favorite endings. If you don't have your list, feel free to throw it together now. No judgment. A little bit of judgment. Probably going to judge you. Billy said, so it's like Spawn, or will it be like the time he talked to Batman Shadow, and not Spider-Man? No, I from what I understand, they're actually intending to fold actual Todd McFarlane Spawn into the Invincible comics.
Like you said, if Todd McFarlane agrees.
Yeah, and I wouldn't imagine they'd be doing this storyline if that was not the intent, and if Todd wasn't on board. That being said, they're also currently working on a new Spawn film. Originally, Jamie Foxx was connected with it to star as Al Simmons, i.e. Spawn, but he has since dropped out, and they are looking for a new actor to take that place. Yes, we only got Batman Shadow, but the version of Spider-Man that we got was voiced by Spectacular Spider-Man's Josh Keaton, as that version of Spider-Man, the Agent Spider, who also obviously isn't canon to the Invincible comics, but was Spider-Man in everything but name. Really, powers and everything were there. So they got as close as they could without going over. But yeah, no, it's actually supposed to be Spawn. So we'll see. Time will only tell with that one. That being said, yeah, Todd is known for nothing if not being completely reasonable. That's true. But it's funny because you say things like that, and it's like he was unreasonable with giving or selling his rights to a character that he created that was supposed to be his, owned forever. And some of that started getting moved around and changed, and Todd had to like stand up for himself. And often when those things happen, the giant corporate spin machine starts, and they try to make these people look bad for saying, no, I'm not going to play ball with you. Like, I want my property to be my property. So it's hard to know whether Todd McFarlane really is a person that is impossible to work with and super unreasonable, or if Todd McFarlane is a man who just wants to be treated correctly, and corporations don't traditionally do that for people who want to be honored for the rights to the things that they own. They want it for themselves, and they don't want the creators in the way. And that was the vision with Image, and then Image got bigger, and then some of that started to go away, and it turned into a fight. Anyway, after saying all of that, it's the Katherine Heigl problem. She stood up for herself and wasn't allowing Hollywood directors and producers to sexualize her or to take advantage of her, and so she became known as a very difficult actress to work with. When in reality, she just wasn't really willing to compromise her values to be part of the fun crowd. And we've seen since then, a lot of the Hollywood elite have been taken down for being pedophiles and rapists and God knows what else. And she's starting to make her way back, and she stood up for herself. And so it's you always have to, like, there's two sides to every story. Don't believe what you read without looking into it a little bit further. I think Todd McFarlane, for the most part, is a decent human being. That being said, we are talking about our 5 favorite endings of all time, or for the week. Who knows? I'm not consistent. I'm all over the place. There's no consistency with me. But anyway, Landon, you want to do me a favor and tell me what your number 5 is?
So my number 5 is mine more so for how it left me. Not so much necessarily for like the quality of the ending itself, but just how out there it is. It is the finale for dinosaurs. The episode Changing Nature, where the father accidentally causes the Ice Age. And we all know how the Ice Age ends for the dinosaurs.
I saw Landon looking this image up, and I just started laughing. Like, holy shit!
Yeah,
Such a sad ending.
I have a fun story to go with this.
Yeah, go for it.
I was one of my friends in high school, right?
Oh, you had friends in high school? Fucking brag much? Jesus.
When I say I had friends, I had a friend. Going on, but moving on. He sat me down. He was like, "Hey, I want to show you a show I really like." And I'm like, "Okay, sure, man." And he shows me a few episodes of Dinosaur. And I'm like, "Okay, that's spoilers. Okay, that's cool. It seems like an all right show, sure." And he's like, "Okay, now I'm going to show you how it ends."
That's like starting Old Yeller at the end. Anyway.
But yeah, after a couple of episodes, he just showed me the ending, and I was like, "What the fuck was that?"
Yeah.
Is there like a crazy does it get like darker as the seasons go on and this is like the end of it all? Nope.
No. It comes out of nowhere.
It comes completely out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was insane. And people thought it was insane
Yeah.
because it was insane.
Yeah. So that happens.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Guys, get your lists in the chat. I know we took a steep decline in viewers there. I have to assume it's something I said. Please come back and give us your lists. In the interim, I will give you my number 5, Landon.
Mhm.
It is from a movie that my good friend Billy Rhodes made me go see with him. It was Torture, and the very best part of it was the end credit scene. Absolutely. So The Crow, the 2024 reboot of the Crow movie from 1994. It shares a title and 2 of the characters' names and literally nothing else with the original film. The best part was whenever those beautiful white letters started to scroll up the theater screen, and I could not get out of that theater fast enough. That movie's garbage. Um, Becca, the hit list or the hit list is your 5 favorite endings. 5 favorite endings. That can be an ending from a book, comic book, television series, movie, fanfic, video game, real life, death of a loved one or close friend. I mean, really, you can pull it from anywhere. Not to get too dark, but anyway, I see we have a number 5 from Billy.
Yes. Billy Rhodes, number 5. Pokemon. Ash finally becoming a Pokemon master after nearly 30 years. Although I did think it was weird that none of his friends or mom showed up to watch him. Jesse and James did, though. They're the real ones.
Jesse and James are the real ones. Absolutely. That is sad. I can't believe they did that. They did our boy dirty like that. But people grow apart, including your mom, who's busy hooking up with Professor Oak back at the lab. And
Let's be real. It's Mr. Mime.
yeah.
Also,
Ash's mom, who's 3-waying with Professor Oak and Mr. Mime back at the lab, didn't have time to come to her kid's little Pokemon battle.
And also, Jesse and James did follow him all throughout every region, even when his other friends didn't.
Yeah,
That's
they wanted
commitment.
that Pikachu.
Yeah.
They really, really wanted that Pikachu. Now, the funny thing about that is they could have at any point found their own Pikachu and got pretty close to what Ash had going on without doing all that.
Well, it's more so happenstance that they kept popping up in the same regions. It's always like something going on. Sometimes it's
That's
revenge.
valid.
Sometimes it's an actual assignment from Team Rocket.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. Very organized group, that Team Rocket, or at least when it comes to Jesse and James. Billy Rhodes said, "Damn it, Landon! I wanted to make that Mr. Mime joke."
I'm sorry, Billy. Great minds think alike. I was just a little quicker on the draw.
Billy said, "It's still the second best Crow ever made," and he is right. He is absolutely right. It is the second best Crow movie ever made, but the gap in quality and the gap in quality, maybe not cinematic quality, because the cameras were obviously a lot better, and there's a lot fewer errors in the film than there were in the original Crow. But the gap in storytelling and the connection that it made to its audience is so massive that, like, I don't know. That's like the difference. I can't think of a good analogy, but it's really far. Ash's Pikachu was known for being stronger than normal ones, and I don't think they were trying very hard. Jesse and James are cool like that. It's true. And, Jesse's hot. Anyway, what's Kenpachi got?
Kenpachi's number 5, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I liked the first anime better, but Brotherhood definitely stuck the landing better. Made me feel better, at least. Lol.
Thank you for bringing that up, Kenpachi. I can't talk about it enough because it's only a couple of weeks away. But Cape Anime 2025 at the Drury Plaza Conference Center here in beautiful Cape Girardeau, Missouri, will be featuring the voice of Von Hohenheim, the father of Ed and Al Ulrich from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. The voice actor John Swayze, who voices him, will be here in Cape Girardeau hanging out with us all weekend long, signing autographs, being a generally incredible human being. I've talked to him a handful of times now, and he's just so fun. I cannot wait to hang out with him. He's also the voice of All for One from My Hero Academia, as well as the Undertaker from Black Butler. Those of you who are not familiar, J. Michael Tatum, the voice of Sebastian from Black Butler, will be here. So that will be a reunion, as well as several other reunions we got going on over the weekend. But yes, if you want to meet John Swayze, as well as the rest of the voice actors we will have here, get your tickets now at cape-events.com. Landon, what is Becca's number 5?
Rebecca's number 5, The End of Mamma Mia, when Molly Weasley chases around the scientist from Thor while singing and trying to get him to date her.
Have you seen Mamma Mia?
I have not seen Mamma
Damn
Mia.
it.
I have a severe allergic reaction to jukebox musicals.
Oh, so ABBA's a real problem for you.
No, I love ABBA. I just don't like jukebox musicals.
Okay. I don't have that problem. I'm probably fine with Mamma Mia. It just hasn't ever gotten onto my radar. My apologies, Becca. I will put it on my list. I will watch it, and then I will see if your number 5 fits in a number 5 space for me, and then judge you accordingly. That is everyone's number 5s thus far. If anyone else throws one up, we will cover it, but we are going to move along. Landon, what's your number 4?
All right, my number 4. It is the Ed, and Eddie Big Picture Show. The ending of the series, Ed, and Eddie.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, this blew my young little child brain when I saw it. Like, I was like, whoa, these characters are going through like turmoils that we don't normally see in the main show. They're fighting, they're arguing, they're actually like tearing up and crying. Like, it's crazy for a young child. And then, like, for the ending, when we finally get to see Eddie's brother, their first adult we actually see in their entirety in the entire show, and he is sadistic and hurting Eddie in a way that all the other characters in this slapstick comedy show are just like kind of horrified at, is really insane. A person that Eddie was saying was going to protect them this entire time is now actually causing them harm. And then at the end of it all, the Eds actually get a win. Something we, again, don't see for basically the entire series. It was cathartic. It was the first, it affected me at a very young age.
I imagine it would. I watched some of Ed, Ed and Eddie, but I clearly have not seen this ending for the series. I wasn't aware of any of this shit, but it seems like they like went really hard at like stuff that they probably couldn't have done in the series prior to this, and they were just like, "Fuck it, it's the end. We'll handle some adult subject matter." Is that kind of the idea behind that, or was that like?
I don't want to say it gets too adult, but it's definitely like a step up from like a normal episode. And it's a movie; they better step it up, you know.
I will at some point have to check that out because I like Ed, Ed and Eddie. I thought it was a fun show. I just wasn't that deep into it, you know.
Yeah. And also Billy, no, thank you.
So Billy Rhodes said, so Landon, you don't want to read my Coheed and Cambria musical script? So those of you who don't know, Coheed and Cambria, they also just came out with a new album, but every one of their albums are a concept album based around the books that the lead singer, whose name is escaping right this second, writes, and then the albums all coincide with a different novel that he has written. So that might be a lot of fun, Billy. I would like to read your script. My eye itched. We don't have any number 4s in the chat just yet, and I get it. You guys, typing's hard. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'll just read mine. My number 4 is The Dark Tower. This is a very maligned ending to a book series, and a lot of fans hate it. I don't hate it. I love the ending to The Dark Tower. And I mean the full ending, not the part where Stephen King says, if you don't want the ending ruined for you, don't read any further, because it will ruin the ending for you. I like the actual ending, the part after that, where he ruins the ending for you. It's good. I like it. I like the idea behind it. I like the fact that it's like gonna live forever. And that we've been promised a couple of different iterations that are going to tackle the rest of the series following the ending of the Dark Tower. But nobody's done it yet. And I'm really looking forward to the day when someone redoes the Dark Tower with picking up from the end of the last book. And we actually get to see Roland finally achieve his goals, and see what that looks like. Instead, whether Stephen King rewrites it or whether somebody who actually loves the series takes the reins and gives us the real ending to the Dark Tower, I'm okay with either one. I'm just looking forward to it. And the idea that that's a possibility, I thought it was so brilliant when King released it. I thought it was such a good idea, and I hate that people hate it, because it's for me, it's one of the best endings to a book series ever.
All right, we got Billy Rhodes, number 4. Animorphs. K.A. Applegate has unapologetically made the ending of the children's series awful. If the kids didn't die in the last battle, they suffered massive PTSD and also committed a lot of war crimes.
Yes, for a fun children's book about kids who can transform into animals, a dark ending is not what I would have expected. So that's kind of crazy, Billy. Also, I didn't realize there was a large expanded Animorphs universe with an ending and war crimes and people dying. So that just fucks me up right there, just knowing that that's a thing. I thought they were just like a fun little book series for kids.
Oh no, it goes fucking hard.
Really?
Yeah.
I might have to check out Animorphs. Becca said, endings are hard because I can only remember ones in shows and movies that made me mad right now. You know what? Throw them up there. Let's, maybe it's your, favorite ending that made you mad. That's okay. No judgment. If you've got a number 4, go ahead and throw it in there. If you missed the number 5, go ahead and throw your number 5 in there. If you're ready to move on to your number 3, go ahead and get that up there. In the interim, we're going to go ahead and move along. Love you guys. Carry on. It's fine. Landon, what do you have for number 3?
All right, my number 3 is all the endings from a game called Fear and Hunger.
Ooh.
Yeah, in the game, you explore the dungeons of Fear and Hunger. You see a lot of messed up shit. It's basically like a horror RPG. You are able to fight. You are able to fight back, and you can do so well and effectively, but well, over the course of exploring the dungeons and everything, there are multiple endings. You're sent there to rescue a guy named Lagarde, and you can either get to him in time, save him, and then leave the dungeon. And he's like, "No, I left something back there. I'm gonna go back to find it." Or you can get there not in time, find him dead, and are like, "Okay, well, I guess my mission's over. I'm leaving." And then you leave again. Each time it's like, yeah, you're really messed up from what you saw, and you'll never ever truly escape the dungeons of Fear and Hunger. You can follow the guard and then end up in the deepest parts of the dungeon, which is actually a whole entire city of gods. And you can either from there see Legard become a god and then either kill him or worship him. You can become a god. You can awaken 2 different old gods and start a whole different thing going on.
Yeah.
Or you can get one of 4 different S endings depending upon what character you get. It's all this big, massive, just well written scheme. And it's crazy.
That does sound crazy. What you're describing reminds me of the video game Clock Tower, where it's a survival horror in the vein of like Resident Evil, but you're being hunted by this. And I'm drawing a blank on his name right now, but you're being hunted by this mongoloid with a giant pair of scissors. Who, if he catches you, he cuts you in half with the scissors. And the game has, I think, 9 different endings. And most of them you lose, and most of them he comes and kills you. And I never got to any of the good endings before I stopped playing the game. But there was a period there where people were making games with a lot of separate endings, and I always thought that was really cool. One of the more modern ones is the what's the game that's like a camping horror film where you're in you go to a cabin and then you like play through. It's like a horror movie. Just came out like
Until Dawn.
No, it's super cinematic. It's got actual like real actors.
I know what you're talking about, but I just can't remember.
Like David
Cage?
No, David from Scream. He plays Dewey. David Arquette. David Arquette plays a character in it. Like anyway. The lake, is it the lake? I can't remember the name of it right this second. I'm sure somebody will know it. Anyway, that game has a ton of different endings, which I just think is so cool. Just to like keep playing the game and try to find all of the different endings and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that sounds cool. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
I saw we had some number 4s pop up.
Yes, Rebecca's number 4. The ending of the Vampire Diaries was actually pretty amazing and satisfying, and a lot hated it, but I thought it fit.
That's good to hear. I've never watched the Vampire Diaries. I probably should. I have had the opportunity to bring the cast to Cape Con a handful of times, and I don't know enough about the show to know whether that would be a good idea or not. So I should probably invest in that because people would probably enjoy meeting them. My mom recently just finished Vampire Diaries and has started the originals. She could probably tell me whether it's worthwhile or not. Yeah, go ahead and give me Billy's number 3.
Billy Rhodes, number 3. Super Mario 64, the 100% ending. It took me 26 years to get all the stars, but Beach finally baked me that fucking cake, and nothing has ever tasted as sweet ever again.
Wow. I've never achieved the complete ending. Rebecca's comment in all caps. I will tell you so much about the show and come to Cape Con. Fine, I'll book them. I've never seen the All the Stars ending of Mario 64, but if Peach finally bakes you that fucking cake, it's got to be worth it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the whole point of the game is you come to the castle because Peach has offered to bake you a cake.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that there was an option that got you that. So much time wasted. I'm going to have to go dust my N64 off and see if I can't pick up my old game.
Yeah. Finally get that cake.
That Peach cake.
And you're...
Nah, I'm saying.
I gotta say, you're playing that on an original Nintendo 64. I think that cake might be a little stale by now.
Yeah, as long as it's Peach's cake, it's worth it. Yeah. Ever since Super Mario Brothers 2, where Peach was a playable character, I've been interested in that cake. Getting that ending made me literally cry at some points out of frustration. I can appreciate that, Billy. I totally get it. The fact that you stuck with it is incredible, I think. personally. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Moving along, if you have a number 3, feel free to throw it in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and do mine unless you beat me to talking. Becca, go into my list. My number 3 is Avatar: The Last Airbender. For a series that means so much to so many people and at times is a fun children's cartoon, but like the other 95% of the time is tugging on your heartstrings. It's revolutionizing cartoons, cinema, storytelling, the classic like team building motif for kids action shows. Avatar: The Last Airbender is incredible. It is a heart-wrenching story at times. At other times, it's such a joy to watch. It is pure happiness and sunshine. It deals with, uh, 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 things such as like death, toxic parenting, toxic relationships, redemption, loss, triumph, overcoming adversity. Like it runs the gamut. Avatar: The Last Airbender is celebrating its 20th anniversary this year, which fun story. That is also the number of years that Cape Events is celebrating being in business. Do those two things have anything in common? Who knows? But Avatar: The Last Airbender has such a satisfying and rich ending. It rounds out most of the stories in it, and then leaves you with the opening to go into the expansion comic books, then on to Legend of Korra, where it answers some questions as to what happened to Aang and the gang. But also, we're getting a new series that tells the stories of adult Aang and the rest of the gang. And we are also getting a new Avatar series coming out this year, featuring the third Avatar in the line. I believe it's an Earthbender this time. And that will be dropping all this year. So very excited about all of that. But if you have not watched Avatar: The Last Airbender and you're a fan of stories, anime, cartoons, fun, adventure, action, check it out. It will change your life.
Mm-hmm.
Becca's number 3 is up.
Yes. Sorry. Rebecca's number 3. Outing myself as a Swiftie, but I loved the ending of the Eras Tour movie where she thanked her fans with a graphic that was made of friendship bracelets.
So Becca says outing myself as a Swiftie, but like she's like a super Swiftie. Like she doesn't. That's usually one of the first things she tells you when you start talking to her. So I'm surprised it took this long, honestly, to come into the comments. I've not. You're gonna hate me. This is the third thing you've listed that I have not seen or know anything about. But that sounds really cool. I like Taylor Swift. I hate the hate she received for becoming a billionaire, because it's like it was totally fine that Jeff Bezos is a billionaire, but the second a lady does it, everybody's mad about it. Shut up. She's not the problem. Becca said, no, I am not a super Swiftie because I refuse to pay that much to go to any concert. Yeah, but other than that. So I know what would be the perfect birthday / Christmas present for you. Not saying it'll happen. Who knows? Anyway, Landon, do you want to drop a hot, steamy number 2 on us?
Yes, of course. It is the true ending for Bloodborne.
Yes.
So, thing about Bloodborne is that it's a game about eldritch gods and like humanity's response to eldritch gods and how it fucks with them and how it fucks with everything. And in the true ending, you become a god. But along the way, a lot of people have to suffer, a lot of people have to die. Some go mad, and some just, I don't know, bad stuff just happens. And for you, you kind of become like a baby god. You become a little squiddy baby god. And by all accounts, this is the worst possible ending. It really is. The ending, the real ending, the true ending, the ending you have to work the hardest and do the most stuff to get is the bad ending, which is kind of unique as far as games go.
Yes. Yep. To get the hardest ending, the true ending, to pull it all off, you end up with the worst possible outcome, which is that your body becomes a tiny little baby squid that will grow into a new eldritch god, which is just nuts. Uh, Billy said, I don't think people are really fine with Jeff Bezos. I know. I'm just saying, like, the amount of hate, like the inordinately larger amount of hate that went towards Taylor Swift when she broke $1 billion compared to the large, like, there a lot of people like are dissatisfied and dislike Jeff Bezos, but every time somebody mentions Jeff Bezos, people aren't like, oh, fuck Jeff Bezos, I'm never buying another product from Amazon again. That guy's a billionaire. Like, Taylor Swift like broke $1 billion and people are like, she has a private jet, fuck her, never listen to her music again. Like, okay, cool. I just, it's, I think people have unfair responses whenever the inequality between a man and a woman is fairly obvious. But yeah, that's not what this show is about, guys. We're here for good times and talking about people being turned into squid baby eldritch gods. Bloodborne is a game set in a alternate reality Victorian England where you fight werewolves and then vampires, all turned to such by using the blood of different eldritch gods. And it is a FromSoft game. It's incredibly difficult, at least at first, and then it just gets crazy fun. Like, Bloodborne is so fun. It's the only game in the history of my gaming experience that I have platinumed because I loved it that much. It's such a good game. But anyway, yes, Landon, great addition to the list. I appreciate you. What do we have in the chat?
Rebecca's number 2. Graduating college was pretty solid ending. Lol. I was definitely pretty happy when it was over.
Which time, Becca? I know you have like multiple degrees in different things, so
I could add so much to this rant, but alas, the comment character limit restricts me.
I'm assuming your grad degree was the graduation we're talking about, because don't you have like 2 masters? Both. Yes, fantastic.
College was pretty good ending for me too, Becca.
Yeah. I wouldn't know. I'm still in the middle of it. Yeah. But yeah, great addition. Anyone else, if you have number 2s, throw them up. I appreciate you. And I'll give a couple more seconds. Biology and biomedical sciences. Yeah, you're a badass. You are an absolute badass, Becca, and it is nuts. Like, nuts.
Billy Rhodes, number 2. The Thing. Which one is the thing? Either? Neither? Was that real alcohol in the flask? Or was it gasoline used to trick the thing? Who could know?
John Carpenter has said that neither of them are, so take that for what you will. Yeah. They've never given a definitive answer for the ending of The Thing, and I don't think they ever will. I mean, that's kind of the point of the ending. But who knows? Who knows?
Who knows?
I know that the Thing tabletop board game is a blast, and by blast I mean I torch people unnecessarily with the blowtorch or with the flamethrower, and that's a good time. So that's an in-joke. Anyway, Landon, my number 2 is from a book series that is beloved to me and many other people. They're all behind me here, and that is The Wheel of Time. Specifically the part where Lan Mandragoran fights Demandred near the end of the book and delivers this incredible line, I did not come to fight, I came to kill you. And boy, howdy does he. Billy said, well, John knows, and he said that neither of them are. Yeah, but John Carpenter likes to fuck with people too, Billy. I don't think that's a real answer. But anyway, if you've not read Wheel of Time, watching the series will not give you the in on the books because they're very different. That doesn't mean you can't enjoy both media. I don't, but you can. I will recommend, if you don't have the time or money to invest in 14 large novels, you can get the audiobooks. That's a great way to do it. I would recommend that over watching the series and hoping that that will give you an idea. Thanks, Bezos, you fucking piece of shit. but the series is still ongoing, so it might get better. Who knows? But the books are incredible, especially the last three. Famously, Robert Jordan, the author of The Wheel of Time, died in between books 10 and 11. In between books 11 and 12. 12 was meant to be the end of the series. Yes, steal them, Billy. Steal them. That's the best answer. Uh, book 12 was meant to be the end of the series. Brandon Sanderson, the writer of the Stormlight Archive, as well as the Mistborn series, was tapped to come in and finish the series by Robert Jordan's widow / editor. And he took what was supposed to be one final book and turned it into three incredible, very big books that have some of the greatest storytelling, writing, character development of all time. And it is worth reading the first 11 books just to get those last three books. Cannot recommend enough. Go check The Wheel of Time out if you can, please. Moving along, Landon. It's time. Let me wet the old whistle. Are you ready to give me, the Nerd King, your number one Landon? Your number one, please. I pitched that up a little bit that time.
Yeah, I noticed it was a different note than usual.
That was an effort. That was. Whew.
All right, my number one. It is the Usurper of the Flame ending to Dark Souls 3.
Ooh.
So, in the first Dark Souls game, at the very end of defeating the final boss, you are given a choice to either fuel the flame that keeps the gods in power and keeps everything in balance, to fuel it with your soul and burn until a new one comes along, a new soul to fuel the flame, or until your soul burns out. The point of that is that it keeps the gods in power, keeps everything as is. You are given the option to let the flame die out and usher in a time of darkness, which is also supposed to be the time where mankind is supposed to be at their strongest, but also at their most corrupt. Well, neither ending means anything, according to the lore of the game, because if you burn, then everything stays the same. If you don't burn, even a single ember, which the embers of the Great Flame are spread out everywhere, can reignite it. So it all means nothing. So by the time Dark Souls 3 comes around and it's back to the original story, they took a break to do something else with Dark Souls 2. Everybody was sort of like, well, then what's the point? Like, it's going to be a new game. You fight new monsters, new bosses, a somewhat different storyline. But at the end of the day, it's just continuing a cycle that apparently is going on and on and on. What's the point? But then you find out that there's a third option, a usurping the flame option, where you absorb the flame into yourself, become the Lord of Hollows, and sort of keep it at like a dim, sort of embering, instead of all the gods' power or all the humans' power with corruption. And it's just like a nice balance between the two that lasts a lot longer than just a simple fueling the flame.
And is that the storyline that runs into 3?
That is the storyline of 3.
Oh, okay.
Two is something totally different. 2 is an experimental one where it takes place in a different land and everything. 1 and 3 are directly linked.
Huh. I need to get into the Demon Souls / Dark Souls games. Those are the only. I think those are the only FromSoft games from the modern era that I haven't played.
I will say 1 is very different from most other Dark Souls games just because it's the slowest in the series, but it's also the easiest. So
I have Demon Souls. I haven't played it. They did a re-release recently on PlayStation Plus, and I say recently, I think it was 2 years ago. I don't own any of the other games, but yeah, I need to. Like, as much as I love Elden Ring, as much as I love Bloodborne, as much as I love Sekiro, I feel like I need to have put these games under my experience. Like I need to have done them.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a slower game.
Yeah.
That's the most I can say about it. It's a bit more methodical.
Okay, cool. I'll check it out. What do we got in chat?
Billy Rhodes, #1. Don't fear the Reaper ending for Cyberpunk 2077. Just me, my imaginary friend who is also kind of killing me, and a lot of the Contagion quick hack.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've played exactly 5 hours of Cyberpunk, just far enough to get into it and decide that I wanted to play more, and I've played no more beyond that.
Yeah. So, do you want me to spoil this ending?
Yes, go for it.
Okay. So, throughout the game, a terrorist named Johnny Silverhand is in your head due to sci-fi shenanigans. He is slowly eating at your brain and also taking over your body. Not by his choice or anything. It is something that even he is like, yeah, this is fucked up. I'm gonna help you try to get rid of it the best I can, just being a voice in your head.
Okay.
At the very end, you're given options. All of them involve storming a big corporate tower called Arasaka Tower and getting him removed from your head in one way or another. Don't fear the Reaper is just you and Johnny. No other backup, no other support. Just going in, killing, and getting to the place you need to be to get him out.
Wow.
Yeah, it is like the most badass of the endings.
That sounds bad as fuck, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then Becca's got her #1 in the chat.
Rebecca's #1. The ending of Halsey's new album. She wrote the album while very ill and thinking she would die before its release. So the final song is like a eulogy. And it's just beautiful, and I cry.
And then Billy said, "Oh my God, wait, so how is Halsey now?" And Becca said, "She's in remission and doing better." The song at the end is called "The Great Impersonator." And honestly, the whole album is art and incredible because each song is inspired by an artist she idolized growing up. Now, Becca, this may catch you off guard because I've been so in line with you your entire list. I wouldn't know a Halsey song if I heard it. Not to say that I don't like Halsey. I don't have any issue with Halsey. She's just not on my radar. But that does sound incredible, and I'm glad that she's feeling better because, illness, it sounds like cancer if she's in remission, but it could be a different illness. I don't know. Cancer fucking sucks. I have been personally affected by that in my life. But illness sucks in general, especially whenever you aren't certain that you will or won't live. And of course, when we make our most beautiful art is when we don't know that whether we're going to have another day ahead of us. And so I promise, check out this Halsey album just so I can get that beautiful artwork that you're describing and have that opportunity. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah. That is everything in chat. My #1, Landon, is also it matches. It goes in line with my #4, which is also a Stephen King novel. The ending of The Shawshank Redemption. Now, I say that, but I've never read the book. I've only watched the movie, and it is one of the greatest movies ever made. The ending is incredible. Andy Dufresne finally crawls his way out of miles of shit to freedom and makes his way to the beach. And then Red gets out, and Red comes to the beach. Red has the same opportunity. Red is the name of the guy, right?
Yes.
Red's not the old man that hangs himself, is he?
No, Red is the Morgan
Right.
Freeman.
Yeah, I thought so. But Red makes it. Red has the same experience as the old man earlier in the film who kills himself, and he chooses, instead of sacrificing his life because he is in a world that he no longer understands, he chooses to meet Andy on the beach and go live with his best friend from prison and have the life that they had talked about in their time in prison. And it's such a beautiful ending to a very dark but very uplifting film. And I think about it a lot. I think about that ending a lot. It lives rent-free in my head, and I'm glad that it happened, and I'm glad that I got to see it. Spaceboy threw a #1 in the chat.
Yes. Space Boys, number one. My favorite ending is the Oop. My favorite ending is the ending to Everything Everywhere All at Once. The way all the characters interconnect to tell a story about using kindness is so good.
Everything Everywhere All at Once is such a good film. Michelle Yeoh is incredible in it. She's incredible in a lot of the things that she makes. Um, the first experience I had with a Michelle Yeoh film was Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and it is artwork. It is cinematic artwork from beginning to end. If you haven't seen it, it's a beautiful women's empowerment story about finding your place in society and choosing not to live within those terms and living for yourself. And even the fallout from that, even though the fallout from that can be painful and grisly and um, violent, choosing that for yourself and enjoying that freedom while you have it is such a beautiful story. But Everything Everywhere All at Once is a great movie that tells a story about what it's like to be a parent when everything's turning upside down and whenever your kids don't really want to be what you expected of them, and life kind of gets a hold of you, and it's told in a beautiful way with some wushu style martial arts, with some of the best actors to have done so in all of Hollywood history, and it's a great film. It flips what we think of as a good narrative on its head, and very much uh, while it is not a sequel to Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, spiritually, I think it kind of does the same thing in subverting expectations. Uh, can
Yep.
Pachi throw a number one up?
Yep. Kenpachi's number one. Star Wars A New Hope. Luke blowing up the Death Star is such an iconic moment from my childhood. Ending of Return of the Jedi is a close second.
Dude, yeah, absolutely. I think that there's a reason that Star Wars has the staying power that it does, and there's a reason that it has sparked the love that series has sparked in us as fans and as nerds, and has continued to be beloved to all of us, and it's generational too. Like Star Wars was already out by the time I was born. So there was a first generation Star Wars fan that loved Star Wars. And then the next generation of Star Wars fans, which is like my generation, and then my kids' generation, my kids are all Star Wars fans. And then now, like my siblings are having like kids that are 5 or 6 years old, and they're reaching that age where they're understanding media and they're Star Wars fans, and there's a reason that it has had that staying power and that it inspires such uh fondness in us. And definitely the ending, the Luke, the poor kid from the desert planet with not a lot to his name becoming the greatest hero in the galaxy is such a great story, and it was handled so well by George Lucas and all of the people that did Star Wars specifically. The newer trilogies obviously get a lot of hate, but at the end of the day, more Star Wars is always good. But nothing I think will ever beat that experience of seeing New Hope for the first time and seeing Luke triumphant and Vader take Vader losing, and goodness uh, winning out in a giant galaxy full of planet on top of planet on top of people on top of people, and that at the end of the day, even in a universe that big or in a galaxy that big with that many people in it, people are inherently good. I think it's an incredible story.
Yeah, it's a very classic story. I can't tell you anybody who doesn't at least know Star Wars,
Yeah,
if not haven't seen every film. And
I know people that have never seen a second of Star Wars ever
I
and
mean,
refuse to do so, edgelord, and but they're still familiar. Like if I say Luke Skywalker and give no other context, they know I'm talking about Star Wars,
yeah,
even if they've never seen it.
if you say I am your father in just the right cadence, even though that's not how it's said in the
Yeah,
film,
it
but all
isn't.
the parodies get it wrong,
Yeah,
uh, they know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, yeah. It's Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father. He told me you killed him. No, I am your father.
Yeah, they always put all the parodies always put the
Luke.
emphasis on the I. What?
They always say, Luke, I am your father, but he never says it.
Yeah, but like more than that, it's always I am your father in the
Mhm.
actual film. Whereas all the parodies is no, I am your father. And it's like
Mhm.
I don't. Is it just because they want to do the line and not all the build up, so the emphasis doesn't make as much sense on the am?
Have you ever seen, changing gears slightly, but for a reason, have you ever seen the skit where uh it's on the stage in London, and all of the people who have played Hamlet in the last like 2 decades at the London theater all come on stage to say to be or not to be? That is the question. And each one of them uh um puts the accent on a different word in the sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of them comes out and they put the accent in a different place, and they're all saying like, this is the way I said it, but it's just like, to be or not to be, and then the next one's like, to be or not to be, and they go through the whole line, and they all show up. It's like David Tennant and like Ian McKellen and um a bunch of them. Anyway, that being said, I think the reason you see it so many different ways, and specifically with that one, is everybody wants to put their own little spin on things. And I think that people ideally see Vader saying it differently than James Earl Jones did. The problem is nobody but James Earl Jones can give the gravitas to something that James Earl Jones says the way James Earl Jones can. So you're always doing a poor imitation. So maybe you need to enunciate it somewhere else to make it seem like you're doing the same thing James Earl Jones does by just saying no, you know?
Yeah, fair enough.
But that's just a theory. I could be wrong. I'm probably not. Anyway, that is our hit list for the week. Let's see. What do I have left on my list?
Billy had an idea to spark the most controversy by making next week about food, but also like we've already talked about what foods make you horny. Like, where can we go from there?
Yeah, where could we go from there? I'll tell you where we can go. Let's do talk about sparking controversy by talking about food. Let's do 5 favorite foods that your family does better than everyone else's.
Okay.
I feel like that could get pretty heated. So next week for the hit list, it is 5. I'm going to add that to the list. Space Boy, favorite songs. But yes, so next week we are doing the 5 foods your family, which you're part of your family. So if it's just you, come with your best list. But it's foods your family does better than anyone else.
Right.
I know Space Boys will all be pasta because they're so Italian.
Yep.
I'm writing this down real quick. I guess I could have done this off screen, but I would forget.
Yeah. Yeah. Your hit list 5 favorite family recipes. Yeah.
Yeah. So top 5 family recipes. That's a much better way to say it. Although we do try to avoid the term top 5, as that is a holdover from the comically inclined days. It is your 5 favorite now, as opposed to your top 5. But I can't make you not use it. I'm just saying I try not to say it. It's fine. Anyway, that is the hit list for this week. Thank you guys for joining us and for throwing your lists up. Welcome back to the show. That does it for us this week, Landon. You look like you were going to say something.
No, I got nothing.
Okay, cool. Thank you, each and every one of you, for showing up this week and every week, for being a part of the show, for hanging out, and for just being incredible people. You guys are great. And Billy said, and I can't make you change the graphics for your waiting screen. What's wrong with the graphics for a waiting screen, Billy? What's wrong with the graphics for our waiting screen, Landon?
Even you made the joke about the wait screen on YouTube being
Oh, the
holdover.
thumbnail?
Yeah.
Yes. We do need to update the thumbnail. You are absolutely correct. We've looked at it a couple of times. I'm just dragging my feet. And honestly, as soon as we log off for the night, I forget that this show exists until the next Wednesday. But anyway, that being said, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being part of the show. We appreciate each and every one of you. We love you guys. And we couldn't do the show without you. Landon, you want to say anything to the nice folks?
Just like every week, thanks for coming out. Thanks for talking in chat. If we were in here talking to a room of nobody and just talking into the camera, me clicking on random things, we would probably go insane. And you know what? We might already be, but still, thanks for coming out and thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. You guys have been great, and we've been Cutting Edge Hero.
See y'all.